Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Gray Beards. My name is Wayne, and to my left over here is a
Actually,
good
I'm
friend Bug. Morning.
here. Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome
Man,
back, Wayne.
I tell you what,
Welcome
I've
back.
been I've been traveling the dang country, it seems like.
It's a blessing to be able to do that, right?
It is. Been a bit busy couple weeks, as the last episode I went up and did a wellness check with my pops and see how he's
Yeah.
doing. Um, Then at work had me in Virginia Beach. God, it was sweltering there. I was there for the week. It was
Yeah. Yeah.
wasn't the best. It was good
Got
to
you. I got
go. It was good to go and for that conference, but and then this I drove in last night at 2:30 in the morning. You know, it's been rough. Been
you. Dang.
driving.
I think he was telling me he was trying to escape the hurricane slash tropical depression, whatever that thing was,
Yeah,
swirling
what is it?
around.
What is it?
Yeah.
Begins with a
Come on,
C.
come on, come on, come on, come on, Camille.
Yeah. All
Boy,
right.
George.
All right, George.
Hey, I had to give it to you. Had to give it
Yeah,
to.
I know who it is, but so we were driving. We drove up to where my daughters live in Maryland. We spent the 4th of July up there. Very low key. We just hanging out. Nothing crazy. And driving up there, I wanted to talk this week on financial planning, right? So we were listening to. I want to say it's called the Financial Audit. I think they're on the old YouTubes here. Guy gets these. He basically has people come on his show. They're looking for advice because they're so upside down financially. They have a huge debt. They don't know. They're overextended. They can't. Based on their income, they can't. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They have huge credit card debt. And I got to thinking. So I listened to a couple shows going up and a couple shows coming back. Because it takes about a 7 hour drive up there and 7 hours back. And what I wanted to get your, you know, your take on what society. So all these people were very close in age. There was one that was in their late 30s that we listened to. She's single, got all kinds of debt. She doesn't want to work. She just wants to travel, blah, blah, blah. And it got me to thinking all the way. I'm thinking, where are we at in this country financially with our young people? A lot of these people were young, 20s. You know, I'm sure he has people on there that are older, but I didn't listen to. I didn't. Those didn't come up, right? I
Yeah.
I can relate, right? And I don't know
You
how. Go ahead. Is
relate to the young people or who you relate
Well,
to?
when you may have different, and I know you and I have talked a lot about finances, and we're getting close
Mhm.
to where we want to retire. I got a couple of years before I'm 62, and that's when I plan to be retired. Um, Not just because of Social Security, but I want to be able to enjoy some of my life, not having to get up every day and go to work, right? But I want to be financially stable or secure, if you will. Growing up, how was yours experience is probably similar to mine. I'll let you answer that. But for me, I had zero.
My
About
dad
me,
told me, yeah, he told me to save your money. You know what I'm saying? That was it. That was it, son. Save your money. Put it
yep.
in the bank. But see, when he was telling me that, you could actually get interest off your savings account. Banks was paying, I guess at the time, maybe 5% off just your savings account. I think that um, things were a lot different in the early 80s, late 70s.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? You could actually, your money could grow while it was in the bank. And most of us, well, it's not true. It's virtually not true. You know what I'm saying? Now, so that was the way. Now, my parents didn't really know about investing money like that. You know what I'm saying? That was more like for upper echelon type mugs. You know what I'm saying? Putting your money in the stock market, maybe mutual funds was around. The only savings plan that I knew of that would, maybe saving your money and what else? Those things we used to buy in the military, U.S. savings bonds. And that was it. You know what I'm saying? Save your money, be frugal, take care of your stuff. That was my financial advice from my pops.
Well,
And
at least
work.
you, at least you know that. Of course, my parents said say similar, right? But they had no money to. They didn't. We can go on. We were talking probably an hour on the phone talking about our perspectives, but
Mhm.
the common theme that I was listening to from these people was they didn't care. They didn't understand. They were fine with oh, I got some debt, whatever. It's on a credit card. I make the minimum payment. You know, some knew to make, some did know to make, I'll make an extra $50 payment, right?
You
But
said
even
a
at
lot.
that, yeah,
You just said a lot. We want to expound on what you just said, but go ahead.
well, they don't care. They're like, what do I care? I'm going to have fun. I want to, they're living in the now. And we all did it. I did too, because I didn't know. I didn't
But
know
check me out
then
though.
what I know now.
Let me say this. Let me just throw this in there and let you keep rolling. What I got out of what you were saying, my takeaway was their mindset, right? They came up in a world where it's common to have debt versus we came up in a world where it was, I mean, debt existed, but it was a thing to be shunned and to be avoided. But debt is part of what they do. It takes money to make money. So this is their mindset. You know what I'm saying? Just like you get a fish and that used to swim in clear water. Now the water's murky. His children grow up in this murky water. It's normal for them. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's like, yo,
Mhm.
oh, I remember when the water was clear and I could see across the pond. What? That's like a fantasy. It's a myth. You know what I'm saying? This water's supposed to be murky. You know what I'm saying? We're kind of like you and I. We've been relatively successful. You was able to send your kids to school, yada yada yada, decent living and stuff like that. But I think a lot of Americans we become a victim, or maybe our children become a victim of our success. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what you had to go through to get to where you are. Maybe your oldest daughter, maybe a little bit your youngest daughter. But if you got kids now, like I got a little teenager, she don't know. Hey, this is the world I grew up in, and spending money is what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is the world I grew up in. There's no what is debt? Hey, I forfeit on my debt, somebody pay it off, and I'll start all over.
Well,
That's
yeah, you're absolutely, and I 100% agree, is they don't look at debt as a bad thing,
look at
right?
that. Yeah,
Well,
it's
they
not a
always say,
bad.
well, if, well, this whole credit score thing, right? Well, I got to keep this credit score. And if I don't have no, again, it's keeping you spending money you don't have. That's the whole, you know, um,
Dang.
it's just, boy, you gotta run a credit card. You gotta have some kind of debt to get this credit score, and you gotta pay on time, and you gotta have. Well, when they can't do it because they don't know how to manage their debt, um, debt to income ratios are through the roof, right? And it comes time to pay the bills, they go, "Oh, I can't pay the." My parents were doing that. There were some times, when um, their bill came due because they were living on such a tight budget, you know. And my dad was what they called a seasonal worker, right? He would get laid off in the wintertime. Well, the money drops, right? But yet
Yeah.
the debt is still there and the bills have to be paid. And it's like, well, I'll skip this month on paying this because the kids are all hungry and we got to have food.
Have
You
food.
know?
Gotta go down to basics. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Come get
didn't.
this washing machine.
Yeah,
Wash
those.
them clothes in the tub.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's just that. their mentality, because credit, I mean, I don't get it so much anymore. Mostly I just got the handout, send me money so we can, you know, feed the children or whatever, or St. Jude's, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily get in the actual mailbox. I used to get these, hey, we'll give you this credit card at this rate for, whatever,
Hmm.
all you gotta do is sign this and send it back and we'll send you the card, right? So it was easy and at least it was in my generation, trying to get you into debt and keep you in debt. And that's what people, they they perceive their wants. I want that new car. I have to have it. I don't care. And you go in there and they just, all you do is just sign this little piece of paper and make us little tiny 300, 400, 500. Some of these payments people are paying on cars today is just outrageous. Outrageous, you know?
Facts. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Um, but I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but if you can't manage your debt properly, they can't. They don't know how. I didn't
Hmm.
know how. There was when I was really, in my early 20s, I had credit card debt from a department store, and I had to make these payments, and I wasn't very good at making the payments. Wasn't because I couldn't necessarily afford it. I just wasn't good at making, timely
Yeah.
payments, right?
Hmm.
But that's a story for
Yeah. What
another.
about the show that you was telling me about? What was this guy's advice to these 20-year-old?
So
What was
the
going on in their lives?
Right. Well, so this show is called, I think it's called Financial Audit, right?
Mhm.
And I will tell you, he talks to these people as a parent would talk. You know, he straight up called them out. You're stupid. You're dumb. What are you doing? And I was kind of blown away that this guy's making a living doing this stuff, right? It's pretty popular from what I understand. He's making money doing it. I don't know what his credentials are, if he went to school, if he's a CPA. I don't know any about that. I just know that he made good sense. He was calling them out and saying, "What were you thinking? What are you doing? Why are you like this?"
They're in their
And they were,
20s, right?
huh?
They're in their 20s. These kids, these what we
Yeah,
would
I mean,
call
this is a
kids.
married, one of them was like a married couple. One was 23, maybe the other was 22.
Yeah.
The oldest one, like I said, was like 37, right? And I'm
He
like,
was a little rough. He was a little rough on the beaver, man.
yeah, he was. But you know what? Sometimes people need to hear that stuff because we live in this society of, ooh, don't,
Yeah.
kids gloves, if you
But
will.
nobody told him any different. It's just like what we was talking about, that fish in that water. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? This is what we do. This is the way we move. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Then you get on this guy's show and he's lambasting you. It don't make
literally.
sense.
But
You
I
know what I'm
give
saying?
them, yeah, but I give the people credit where credit is due. The people that were on a show recognized, albeit that it was too late, that they were in financial crisis. They could lose everything, right? They recognize it. Even like I said, they're upside down 100-fold, and they don't know the way out. But the thing that got me was he was like, "All right, how many hours you work?" He gets their whole information, like how much you make an hour. Some people don't even know it, right? They couldn't, what's your paycheck? He'd have to break it down and say, how much is your paycheck every week or 2 weeks or whatever, right? And they were just dumbfounded. And what does that matter? He's like, well, how many hours you work? Well, I work 32 hours. And he says, why aren't you working 40 hours? Oh, I don't know. I like having my 3-day weekends and blah, blah, blah. So I can go and travel and do this stuff. And he's like, you're an idiot. You'll never, you'll never succeed with that mentality, right? It's just, and I got it, right? You have a side gig, I do side gigs. I've done it for 20 years or longer. Whereas when the paycheck doesn't meet what I want or my needs, I can do something different to make a little extra money, right? It ain't a lot of money. It's just a little bit to meet the wants, basically. I never really, was outside my needs, uh,
Yeah.
you know. And of course, I
Yeah.
give where is she? There she is. I give her a lot
Shit.
of credit.
You
Um,
see that rock she's leaning on? It kind of reminds me of something out of the Stone Age. That's where I'm at in my fiscal plan. I'm in the Stone Age, okay?
yeah,
But I do have the basics of how to do it. You got to have the willpower to do it. You know what I'm saying?
well, that
One,
is
you got to decrease spending. You have to decrease spending. And if
yeah.
you can, increase earnings. That's it. If you
Well,
can do those two things, you can and be disciplined to apply that money towards those things. You know, people in our age and our background, look at you. Just,
you're hitting so many points that I'm like, yeah. I mean,
but
these
that's it. I
people.
mean, it's gonna take a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, we old crusty kind of cat. We ain't that old. We're silver, but we know how to do it. We know what it takes. If
Tighten
I
the
was going to
belt.
find a survivor in this economic crisis, I
Hmm.
would say Wayne Krebs is going to be one. I think I can do it too. You know what I'm saying? Decrease your spending, increase your earnings if you can, and apply it to what it needs to be applied for. We was talking about that before the show. That okay, I would like to be done with going to a job. You know what I'm saying? Except for the job of my choice within the next 14, 15 months. You know what I'm saying? I would like to be able to do that. So what I'm gonna have to sit down I gotta talk to my vice president and say, hey baby, this is what we need to do because I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? I want to do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Thank God that military and its benefits has been good to me. Okay. So that's gonna help a lot. But um I'm still gonna bring some more. And because I've worked, I'm entitled to social social security is gonna be around. If that thing goes away, I'm gonna invoke the ski mask, okay? That's what's happening. If social security goes away, um, guard your property, ladies and gentlemen. So I will be out there.
Well,
I will be out there.
I can understand that, but see, here's the thing, right? One other thing I noticed and with amongst all of it, they were not willing to change their ways, right?
Oh,
He's like
yeah.
looking at their what they're charging on their credit cards, what they're paying out, like DoorDash and Starbucks and all this other, stuff. And then he's like, well, right here is your problem. You're spending all this money on food. And we all know how expensive those things are. They're not willing to give up the convenience that these things provide, right? I don't have to cook. I don't have to grocery shop. I just order DoorDash and it shows up in my door, regardless of what they could care less what it costs, right? And when you and I both live in that world, right? But we're a little more financially secure. When you talk about, oh, if Social Security goes away, I might have to invoke it. No, you just have to stop some of those easy button
Joker.
things. Those easy button things, we both do it, right? It's like, oh, I don't really need to order, you know, I'm looking around here I don't really have any niceties per se. Um, you know what I mean? When you look around going, I don't really need that. But because I can afford it, I go and buy it because I want it, right? I'm
Yeah.
more of a needs-based kind of guy. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I have plenty of want stuff laying around this house.
I
Plenty.
got you. But you think about, man, my assessment, your vehicles, and just stuff that regular Americans don't do, right? They don't. You asked me the other day, hey man, when the last time you've checked all the fluids in your vehicle?
You don't
That
recall.
counts.
You don't recall. Well, those are
It
the
didn't
things.
happen, okay? I can be totally transparent. It did not happen. I checked the oil. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
which is
I checked
probably one
all,
of the
then check
most
the,
crucial. Yeah.
yes, most crucial. But next to that is your radiator.
The
You need to make
coolant.
sure
Yeah.
you got the coolant
Yeah.
in there because that could cause some problem. You need to make sure your transmission fluid is good. That could definitely cause some problems. You know what I'm saying? Even your windshield fluid could cause some problems if you
Well,
don't
that
check it.
well, that's the thing though. You got to be, and that's why, one of the other things I took out of this was like, okay, if
Mhm.
I am wanting to retire at 62, which is not quite 2 years, but a couple years from now, I need to really look at my budget, what I have going out, what I perceive that's going to be coming in. Have you done that? Has anybody done that when they start doing yes, obviously some people have.
Mhm.
Majority of it just doesn't one day just say, "Ah, I'm retired. I'm not going to work no more."
No, you can't do that.
I have to look at the numbers, and these people
You
were
got to
not
look at
willing to
them
do that
because
until
it's
they did it.
scary. It's
Huh?
scary to look at the numbers. For them, I can imagine. 20
Right?
years old.
They're living in a fantasy world, going, "Oh yeah, whatever." It will be what it'll be. It's in God's hand. Jesus take the wheel, right? And Jesus ain't driving. He ain't driving, right? He don't need to, right? He just wills wherever he wants to be.
Jesus is taking the wheel right now because he's got jokers like you and me and that guy that's
Hmm.
trying to tell you
Hmm.
how to find, how to get yourself in tune. He's taking the wheel. He's trying to take the wheel. You're knocking
Yeah.
his hands.
Yeah.
When, hey, folks, when somebody's telling you something that's
Yeah.
true,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's Jesus taking the wheel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But
He's making,
but what it is he's not going to chauffeur your ass around. He's not going to do it. He's
no,
not going to chauffeur you to the promised land of financial security. He's going to let you
I,
skin your knees, and he's going to let you fall down and get a nosebleed.
it's
You
necessary.
know, yeah, he has to.
I
Yeah,
hear Jesus in every day. Thought you were gonna bring your lunch today. I thought this, that, and other. I thought you was gonna cook. Jesus
he's
talks to
killing
me
me.
every day.
But that's because he puts you around people that, and we all hear. I learned. You talk about that, right? I hear
Mhm.
them too because I hear someone saying, "You know what? You shouldn't be such a mean person." I don't perceive myself as being a mean person. I perceive myself as being a very blunt.
Well, I'm gonna wake you up to something. Truth is mean. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah,
No one wants to hear the truth.
yeah,
They
true.
don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear it. Stop
It's
telling me the truth.
Just stop telling, lie to me. Tell me it's gonna be okay. Tell me I
Yeah,
look good. Do I look good in this dress? Yes, you do. You look great in that dress.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
My
don't want to hear
my
the
my wife knows better to ask me what I think.
truth.
Because I'm
Yeah,
just,
he's gonna freaking use that ugly word, the truth.
yeah, the truth. But
Yeah, but
it's
at least
just,
I know it's true.
yeah. I just thought it was an interesting topic today. Is like, we were talking earlier too about inflation. How do we get to inflation, right?
Yeah.
And I told you that I think it's a made up thing, right? Because
I think it's greed, man. That's my
well,
summary
greed
of inflation.
greed is definitely a
Factor.
contributing factor to
Yeah.
inflation. Inflation
Hmm.
exists because people have willed it into existence. Um, People are not willing to, as a consumer, consumers drive inflation, right? In my opinion, the greed, as you said, is what causes, people are like, I don't care what it costs, I'm buying it, right? So next thing you know, they're like, oh, I need a pay raise. I need more money. I want more money because it costs too much to live the lifestyle that they feel they deserve, want, need, whatever, right? So they
Well, you
drive
cut.
this inflation. It is never going to end because of greed, right? Um, Gluttony, if you will, is probably more one of the sins. Seven deadly sins. Is when you are not willing to. I guess I just make my own coffee this morning in my $20, $10 coffee maker. I'd rather go spend $10 for a coffee. And I can relate to this because when I went last week, I went to a um, expo, if you will, conference. And I was like, oh man, I'm in a hotel. I don't have coffee. They didn't have coffee at the hotel or whatever I stayed at. I went to this little cart in the expo and said, I just want a coffee, whatever, latte, whatever it ended up being. And I got the bill to pay. It was $11 for a cup of coffee, just a little cup of coffee. And I was like, you idiot. You could have gotten one from McDonald's for $2, whatever it is. I don't even know. You know what I mean? Is because I wanted it and I paid it and they're happy because they sold me something that cost 50 cents for $11. And
Convenience.
so I contributed to inflation, if you will, right?
Hmm.
Because now I got to work to pay for this $11 coffee. I have to work extra to pay for
Let me ask you this: this $11 coffee, where were you at? I mean, you ain't got to call
it.
them out, but
It was
I
in
mean, like,
Virginia. I was at
what?
Virginia Beach, right in the Virginia Beach Convention Center.
But see, the coffee, and you bought it inside the convention center. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So that I think you probably paid a convenience fee. You know what I'm saying? I think it was like to
Oh,
make
certainly.
coffee here.
We,
Yeah.
every we are everything we do is why it costs is, someone coming to your house to bring your DoorDash or whatever. What is
You
the
got to
other?
pay on
There's
top.
whatever, right? You got to pay someone to do that, right? Well, for me to live that lifestyle, to have someone bring my food to me that costs 10 times more than it would if I just made it myself at my domicile, you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
to live that lifestyle, I need to make more money. That means I got to go to my employer and demand more money. Oh, there's an inflation. So now I'm paying my employee more money. I got to increase the price of my product, right? For
Yeah. That's
everybody.
right. That's right.
Hence the word inflation.
Now, let's look at it in a reciprocal way. All right. If you can get by with that $5 hour that we was discussing earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
You may be like, man, this $5 is working for me, right? But somewhere along the cog, this somebody else, the supplier, he
Mm-hmm.
wants more money. He realized his worth. Man, I've been
Yep.
selling these things for 50 cents. I need $1
Mm-hmm.
for this
Oh,
darn thing,
absolutely. Yeah.
right? And then you, as the worker, you realizes that the stuff you need suddenly has gone up. Stuff you need, groceries have gone up, gas has gone up, electricity has gone up because this dude out here, the supplier wants more money. So now you come back to your boss. Hey, boss, this $5 ain't cutting it like it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I need may I please get a raise? You know what I'm saying?
But
So
yeah,
so it
it's a
can go both
snowball
ways.
effect. It's a snowball effect from supply,
Yeah.
delivery, producing, all of that, right? So the guy that's
Mhm.
supplying, like you said, he's not just going to arbitrarily per se. He may or she may
Good.
just say, I want more money because, well, one, to produce whatever it is that he's making, he may have to hire more people, right?
Facts. That's true. He may have to. You may need more of that product. You're right. He may need to hire more people, which gonna that cost is gonna transfer to your company. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of dynamics. You're right. I mean, I agree.
Yeah, it
A lot
isn't
of things
just a
that come.
matter of him saying, you know what, you want my stuff? I'm gonna, greed. He may be
He
a
could.
factor,
Yeah.
absolutely be a factor, but he may also have to, man, dang on bug and wanting more and more of my stuff. I got to hire more people. I can't meet the demand, whatever,
Hmm.
right? And
You
that's
called
part
me
of
up.
that's all part of the great thing of capitalism. I got that. I got it.
Yeah.
But the problem is the people that are, he's hiring more people instead of paying them a wage to keep up with production. He's just hiring more people and paying them shit.
Then you have the other factor, the U.S. government, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
things they want to do. You know what I'm
Oh yeah.
saying? We need more of this. We need more missiles, planes, guns, whatever it is they need. We need to figure out what a man is, okay? So we need more money. So I had to say, it. but
Yeah. We all know what
but
a man or
anyway,
woman is. They just don't want to tell you.
we need a definition and we need a team to figure this out. So
Mm-hmm.
so I need more taxes. I need
Yep.
to generate more capital to invest in this project of finding this, getting this information, getting these resources or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, he's taking in more taxes. So, they need more money. You know what I'm saying? The government needs more money to do what they need to do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a
At
whole lot of things, man.
tons, tons.
And
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
throw
what.
this out there. I'm gonna
Go
throw
ahead.
this out there real quick. We was talking before the show that
I'm
one,
ready to catch it.
Vegas. Vegas was built on losers. So was America. Let's just put it out there. I
Yeah.
mean, there's some winners, of course, but I'm just saying, Lord, just forgive me for saying this, but that individual that's getting that 25% credit card, and he's part of the team.
Oh yeah. And when he,
You don't have to be that guy. You know what
uh,
I'm saying? He gonna make well, first of all, he has a there break glass in case of emergency because that dude is not gonna pay that credit card
no.
bill. He's gonna make 4 payments. And you're like, man, that junk suck. Bump that. I don't need to pay that card. Get your goddamn card, cuz. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care about my credit score. That's for the highfalutin mugs, the mugs that want to
Yep.
boast at the dinner
You
parties.
want
I got an 800 credit score. I don't need that. That's right.
hit it right on the nose. But
I don't need that.
yeah, they
They
don't.
can
It's
take that wash and dry back. We're going back to where grandma used to do it. I ain't paying for this thing no more. We Burger King for everybody. You know what I'm
yep.
saying? And
Yeah. I
it's the
don't.
way it is. I know
I
I'm on
mean,
a
that's.
rant.
I mean, we don't live in a world where we save our money to buy something, right?
Not hardly.
Because of inflation, you can't save it fast enough to be able to afford the things you may want or need. So we got to get loans from people that want our money,
Oh
right?
God, you're right.
It's
You're absolutely right, man. It's good to have some money in the bank you can borrow from yourself. But shucks, the average American can't. And they say the average American don't have $1,000 in their account.
dang.
$1,000, bro?
And listening to this show that I listened to, I would tend to say that's very accurate. But
Yeah,
anyways,
and that's the thing.
we're about out of time. We only got a
Dang
couple
it, the show
minutes
went
left.
too quick.
It
Part
usually
two.
does. Part two. As always, I mean, this is a topic that people are going to struggle with their entire life until they really. Unfortunately, they usually wait. I was like 33, 33 when I really realized I need to pay myself, bring my debt down, and stop buying stuff just because I can. Right. So, with that said, final words. Final word.
Yeah. Final words. How much time we got?
Couple minutes.
Couple minutes. All right.
I'm keeping you on a short leash today.
You ready? All right, my man.
Yeah.
Dallas was losing to the Washington Redskins. Halftime, the score was like 28-10. Tom Landry decided that I needed a more conservative approach to win this game. All this fancy stuff we're doing is causing us to lose this game. He went down to the basics. The final score was 31-28. Sorry, Redskin fans or commanders or whatever y'all call yourselves, but
Yeah.
that's the key to success. Sometimes you got to just get back to the basics.
That's a fact.
That's it.
Absolutely a fact. Let me
Hmm.
know what you guys think down on the bottom. I appreciate each and every one of you. Let me know. Let us know. We want to
Let
know.
us know.
What do you think?
Yes, sir.
Would you retire at
Yes.
62 or would you just, final word from me? Everything I've seen is to take your Social Security at 62. Everything I've seen, everything. You leave too much money on the table. That's my thoughts. Some people disagree because they want to get $300 or $400 more a month in their Social Security benefit at 67, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my thought. I plan to be done at 62. I may go to almost 63 just because where is
Yeah.
she? There she is. She's a year younger than me, so I want to, she
Yeah.
wants us to retire at the same time, and I'm fine with that. I could deal with that. We'll see how it goes. But
Yeah.
anyways, take care, everybody. I hope everybody has a great week. You too, Bug. I'll see you tomorrow. Why did I keep
Yeah. Watch
tomorrow?
it. Watch your money.
Yeah, watch your money. Be smart with your money, and have a great week. And God bless.
God bless you guys. Take care.
Take care.